Let's talk about editing. Hey guys, I'm Marlene and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title, today we're going to be looking at the different types of editing services you can get. And then I'm also going to be talking about some general questions around editing, like how to save costs, how to choose an editor, and which edits you would need. So the catalyst behind today's video is the fact that my own freelance editing business, Gentle Sea Editing, launches tomorrow, the 1st of June, 2023. Super duper excited about that. I've been working towards my qualification and I'm finally launching this business that I've wanted to do for a very long time. So let's dive right in. So the first type of editing we're going to be looking at is developmental editing. Now, a developmental edit looks at the big picture. It addresses issues at story level. So it's essentially an evaluation of the story of your writing. And this can also sometimes be referred to as structural editing or substantive editing. So a developmental edit will look at, amongst other things, story structure, character development, setting, description, pacing, adherence to genre expectations, and cliches and overused tropes. Usually a developmental edit will not take the form of actual changes in the manuscript, but rather an editorial letter setting out the strengths, weaknesses, and issues of the book, and also giving suggestions on how to fix those issues. There might be some margin comments if that's the editor's style, or if it's necessary to kind of clarify a point in the editorial letter. Now, according to the Editorial Freelancers Association, or the EFA, the average rate for developmental editing is between 3 cents and 3.9 cents per word. That means that for a 90,000 word book, you would pay anywhere between $2,700 and $3,510. From tomorrow onward, I will be offering developmental editing services at 1.7 cents per word. So that means I will do a developmental edit of a 90,000 word book for $1,530. Next up is line editing. So line editing looks at the writing style and the writing craft on a line by line level. So this is your actual writing style, how you write. So it looks at things like voice, language use, word choice, tense, point of view, clarity and readability, filtering, filler words, show versus tell, and pacing and flow. Usually this will take the form of comments in the margin. So because this is mostly stylistic changes, an editor will rarely simply make the change themselves. They'd rather leave a comment addressing the issue, saying why they think something should change, and then adding suggestions on what you could perhaps change it to. According to the EFA, the average rate for a line edit for fiction is between 4 cents and 4.9 cents per word. That means that for a 90,000 word book, you would pay between $3,600 and $4,410. I offer line editing services at 2.5 cents per word, meaning that I would do a line edit of a 90,000 word book for $2,250. Then the third type of editing service, and I think the one most people have heard of, is copy editing. So copy editing looks at technical issues on a word and sentence level. So the things you kind of learn in English language class, you know, your punctuation and things like that. So it would look at spelling, punctuation, grammar, usage, paragraph structure, repeated words, typos, and style inconsistencies. A big part of copy editing is ensuring that things are used consistently throughout. If you spell a word the American way, then you have to spell it the American way throughout. If you use double quotation marks, single quotation marks, you use the same throughout. So usually this involves the editor making actual changes to the manuscript in some sort of track changes, and they will add comments where necessary. then most editors also keep a style sheet as they work on a project in order to keep things consistent. So I give clients this style sheet alongside the edited manuscript. If your editor doesn't do this, I would suggest asking for it, because it'll help you keep your grammar and usage consistent if you want to make any subsequent changes, and it'll help your proofreader as well. According to the EFA, the average rate for copy editing for fiction is between 2 cents and 2.9 cents per word. That means that for a 90,000 word book, you would pay between $1,800 and $2,610. I offer copy editing services at 2 cents per word, so that means that I would edit a 90,000 word book for $1,800. And then finally, proofreading. So proofreading is the final review of a work. When it's gone through all of the other editing phases, get the proofreader to have a final look to ensure that everything looks correct. So it looks at the specific formatting, the layouts, as well as catching any errors that were missed during the copy edits. So it looks at, among other things, punctuation, spelling, hyphenation, word use consistency, headers, chapter styles, scene breaks, paragraph styles, formatting, typos, repeated words, and page layouts. So because these changes are mechanical, the proofreader will usually just go and make the changes themselves without adding any comments. I would recommend that your proofreader still uses some form of track changes and not just, put the changes in there, so that the author will have the final say on any changes. According to the EFA, the average rate for a proofread for fiction is between 2 cents and 2.9 cents per word. That means for a 90,000 word book, you would pay between $1,800 and $2,610. I offer proofreading services at 1 cent per word, which means that I will proofread a 90,000 word book for $900. So those are the 4 main types of editing. But let's face it, it's expensive to get an editor. That's just the way, unfortunately, it is. So freelance editors will determine their own rates, and usually that will depend on their experience and their qualifications. So you can get cheaper rates, but just make sure that it's still someone who has the necessary qualifications and does a good enough job. And then the other thing is also that most editors will offer combos, where you get 2 or more editing services combined for a cheaper price. So I offer a developmental line and copy edit combo for 5 cents per word, which is 20% cheaper than those individual services combined. So that means for 90,000 words, I would do a developmental, copy, and line edit for $4,500. Then I also offer a developmental and line editing combo, which is 15% cheaper than the individual services combined. So for 90,000 words, that would be $3,240 because it's 3.6 cents per word. I also offer a line and copy edit combo, which is 3.8 cents per word, 15% cheaper than the individual services combined. So for 90,000 words, that would work out to $3,420. Different editors will have different combos. Have a look at them, determine which kinds of edits you need, and try to get a combo if you can and if you trust that editor. I firmly believe that the same person should not edit and proofread the same work. So I would not recommend going for a combo that has an edit and a proofread in it. Now you might ask, but how do I know which edit I need? So unless you're traditionally published, which edits you choose is up to you. You make the final decision. However, if you are going to be publishing your work, especially commercially, you need to have at least one type of edit. Your product won't be up to scratch if you're the only person who's looked at it before you put it out into the world. So if you have been writing stories, crafting stories for a very long time, you have some experience or qualification in storytelling itself, and you enlisted critique partners and beta readers, perhaps you won't need a developmental edit. If you have a very, very strong writing style and you're 100% certain about that, maybe skip the line edits. But I would not recommend skipping the copy edits and the proofread. And then finally, how do I choose the best editor? So if you're going for the editing of creative works, I would suggest getting someone with some sort of experience about fiction or creative writing. So try to get someone who knows something about storycraft, especially for developmental editing and perhaps for line editing as well. Look for someone who has a qualification in editing itself and not just in the language or in writing. It's a completely different ball game, and someone needs to be trained in editing itself. Also, look to see if the editor has testimonials. If you can't find the testimonials on their website, ask them for some. Try not to go with someone who's charging exuberant prices. It should be close to these averages. Then most editors, well, I think all editors, should offer a sample edit, a free sample edit. You should never pay for it, where you submit an extract of your work for that editor to then edit and send back to you so that you can see their style, see if they're competent enough before you decide to use them for editing. So you can obviously judge whether you like the way this editor works based on the sample edit. And then finally, look at the editor's website or any communication you have with them. Is it riddled with errors and inconsistencies? Is that then someone you would trust with your work? Just be sure that the overall image that you get from the editor is that they are competent, that they know what they're doing in a technical sense, and that they are detail orientated. So yeah, that's it. Those are my little tips on finding an editor, as well as the different types of editing services you could be looking for. If you would like to enlist Gentle C Editing to do some editing for you, the link will be in the description box below. Hit me up, I'm still open. So if you need some urgent editing services and you need to start an edit now, you've come to the right place. I'm very much looking forward to working with you guys and getting to edit some amazing creative works. As always, you can find me on my website, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and BookBub. All the links are listed below. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. I post writing advice videos on Wednesdays and book reviews on some Fridays. And then I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!